Once a young monk asked a Zen master about life's greatest value. The master handed him a stone, instructing him to sell it, showing two fingers if asked for the price. The monk went to the market, where a housewife offered $20 for the stone. Amazed, he returned to the master, who told him to try the museum. There, someone offered $2,000 for the stone, but still, the monk didn't sell it. Finally, at an antique shop, an offer of $200,000 came in. Overwhelmed, he returned to the master. The Zen master gently explained, "Your worth, like the stone, varies with context. Your value is not fixed but can change with different platforms and positions. We too must recognize our potential and believe in ourselves. Don't let self-doubt hide your unique gifts. Embrace your worth, follow your heart, and your life will become a beautiful masterpiece." Once upon a time, there was a young monk who was very talkative. He would talk about anything and everything, and he never seemed to run out of words. One day, the monk's teacher took him aside and said, "You talk too much. You should learn the power of silence." The monk was not happy to hear this. He thought that talking was a good thing, and he didn't see why he should stop. But the teacher was insistent, and the monk eventually agreed to try to be more silent. The next day, the monk went out into the world and tried to be silent. It was not easy. He wanted to talk to everyone he met, but he forced himself to keep quiet. At first, it was very difficult, but as the day went on, he started to get used to it. He realized that there was a lot to be said for silence. He could hear the birds singing, the wind rustling through the trees, and the sound of his own breathing. He could also think more clearly, and he was able to focus on the present moment. By the end of the day, the monk was glad that he had listened to his teacher. He realized that silence was a powerful tool, and he vowed to use it more often. The moral of the story is that silence can be a powerful force. It can help us to hear the world around us, to think more clearly, and to focus on the present moment. When we are silent, we can connect with our inner selves and with the divine.
The Monk and the Storm. One day, a young monk was walking through the forest when he came across a storm. The wind was howling, the rain was pouring, and the thunder was crashing. The monk was scared. He had never seen a storm like this before. The monk ran to a nearby tree and hid under it. He huddled there, shaking with fear. He thought that the storm would never end. Suddenly, the monk heard a voice. "Why are you so afraid?" the voice said. The monk looked up and saw a wise old man standing in front of him. "I'm afraid of the storm," the monk said. "It's so loud and powerful." "The storm is nothing to be afraid of," the old man said. "It is just nature at work. It is neither good nor bad. It is simply what it is." "But it's so scary," the monk said. "The storm is only scary because you resist it," the old man said. "If you accept the storm, you will not be afraid." The monk thought about what the old man said. He realized that the old man was right. He was afraid of the storm because he was resisting it. He was trying to control it, but he couldn't. The monk took a deep breath and let go of his resistance. He accepted the storm for what it was. He opened his eyes and looked up at the sky. He saw the power of the storm, but he was not afraid. The storm passed, and the monk was no longer afraid. He had learned the power of acceptance. The moral of the story is that we can find peace and happiness by accepting the things that we cannot control. When we resist the things that are out of our control, we only create more suffering for ourselves. But when we accept the things that are out of our control, we can find peace and happiness. There once was a young archer who won every archery contest he participated in. Because of his success, the young and rather boastful champion challenged a Zen master who was renowned for his skill as an archer. The young man demonstrated remarkable technical proficiency when he hit a distant bull's eye on his first try and then split that arrow with his second shot. "There," he said to the old man. "See if you can match that." Undisturbed, the Zen master did not draw his bow, but rather motioned for the young archer to follow him up the mountain where they could test their archery mastery and not just skill. Curious about the old fellow's intentions, the young champion followed him high into the mountain until they reached a deep chasm over which a rather flimsy and shaky log played the role of a bridge. Calmly stepping out onto the middle of the unsteady and certainly perilous bridge, the old master picked a faraway tree as a target, drew his bow, and fired a clean, direct hit. "Now it is your turn," he said, as he gracefully stepped back onto the safe ground. Staring with terror into the seemingly bottomless and beckoning abyss, the young man could not force himself to step out onto the log, no less shoot at a target. "You have much skill with your bow," the Zen master said, sensing his challenger's predicament. "But you have little skill with the mind that lets loose the shot. When you improve that, please find me, and I will gladly accept your challenge." Being skilled in some particular tasks does not mean you know all of the secrets and knowledge. However, if you can control your mind, you will be better equipped to achieve your goals and live a fulfilling life.